Come join our party. This is the
Save Point.
What's up, Monmouth University? Welcome to the Save Point, your #1 source for anything gaming. I'm your host, Marissa.
And I'm John. And in today's episode, we have updates from Nintendo, comics in the news, and Pat's thoughts on Destiny 2.
We also have a debate on next-gen consoles, a game review, and Ramon's rants.
But first, here's Jose with a review of Towerfall Ascension.
Followed by Pat with an update on Destiny 2. Time to press start.
Hey Save Pointers, my name's Jose, and this week I will not be doing a Sony segment, but instead we'll be bringing you another game review on Towerfall Ascension. Towerfall Ascension gets remarkable playtime out of a simple but exciting 4-player archery deathmatch formula. Each round starts at a hysterical yet tense pace. I was pushed to never be comfortable and come up with swift yet precise tactics that take advantage of the 2D map layout to avoid attacks and return fire. The game's appeal is in its colorful sprite graphics that give personality to the other 8 character skins, and yet keeps a nostalgic feel for the early days of 2D platformers. That simplicity makes it especially surprising and fun when a screen warping visual effect triggers mid-match to set off panicked reactions during battle. The screen warps can be used to your advantage for more precise shots and reversals, and I've had moments where my friends and I panicked at the last moments of battle for that last kill, and it led into some hilarious and interesting situations. A big point of what keeps things feeling so fast is the limited ammo supply. You just have 3 arrows to start, and it's balanced in a very smart way. Every shot fired creates a risk-reward opportunity to gain the upper hand by gathering the scattered arrows from combat before an enemy, and of course, the competition for power-ups is even more intense. But even if your quiver's empty, you're not entirely defenseless. A well-timed forward dash into an oncoming arrow can pull it out of the air and into your ammo count with a little skill. It's a move that allows stunning reversals you die if you're not timing it right. This and other tricks like firing an arrow through a candle to set it on fire can give you a big advantage if you're thinking about your position. Unfortunately, developer Matt Makes Games didn't include an online mode, and the single player and co-op modes against waves of simple-minded enemies don't stand out significantly, except this practice for those tricks I taught you earlier. But Towerfall's selection of match modifiers and over 120 maps allow you to tweak this couch multiplayer game in fun ways that kept me and my friends playing and laughing for hours. Yeah, you heard me, over 120 maps, and you can control every aspect that comes out of that battlefield, like power-ups, the consistency of power-ups. You can even make your own map. Overall, Towerfall Ascension is a fun and approachable battle royale. It makes excellent use of its retro looks and classic arcade platforming style. Every second of a match in Towerfall is one of survival, power-ups, and scramble for arrows. Sadly, with it being limited to local play, it will only be a couch platformer that will be used when my friends come over, and not a game that I would purchase if I wanted to go online. All in all, Towerfall Ascension is worth the purchase, and if you were lucky enough to get it for free with PlayStation Plus, I would recommend giving it a go. That's all I have for this week's game review. My name is Jose, and I'll see you next time.
Hey Save Pointers, this is Pat here with a special package concerning the supposed Destiny 2. Many sources have claimed that Bungie is already hard at work on the sequel to their latest AAA release, Destiny. Claiming to be the world's first shared world shooter, the game unfortunately fell flat in the eyes of the critics and much of the community. The story was non-existent and the gameplay was considered monotonous at best. Don't even get me started on Activision and Bungie's bright idea to ship the full campaign in paid increments of DLC. Don't deny it, people. You know it to be true. Well, let's humor the devs and publishers and try to focus on what can be expected for Destiny 2 when it releases in 2016. I'll even take the time to touch on what features in Destiny's development didn't make it into the final game. I was painstakingly hoping to see some of these in Destiny, but rather than whimper about it any further, I'll describe some of these features that could be implemented into Destiny 2. First off, I think Destiny should do us all a favor and just drop the T rating. Bungie has a legacy of building rich, immersive stories with intense visual detail. And this is not meant to insult Destiny's artwork. That is amazing. That I can't lie about. But sometimes telling an immersive and detailed story with action and intense gameplay warrants an M rating. And don't worry about pursuing a younger audience with an M-rated game, Activision. You've done that plenty well with the Call of Duty series. But that's a story for a different day. Moving on, one feature that I would really like to see in Destiny 2 is the return of Faction Wars, a cut multiplayer feature from the original game's development stage. Remember the factions like Future War Cult, New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, and the cut factions, Sons of Osiris and the Seven Seraphs? Well, in Faction Wars, if you were aligned with a specific faction, then you and your team of your fellow disciples would be pit in a deathmatch with entire teams of rival factions. Now, this may not be all that different from clan wars from other games, but at least it helped enrich the lore and give an interesting explanation as to why Guardians are fighting each other for one reason or another. I'm personally disappointed that the Seven Seraphs didn't make it into the game. They were my first choice, bar none. Oh well, maybe we'll see them get added in a DLC. Not that I waste any more of my money on that disappointment of the game. Another feature I would like to see in Destiny 2 is an expansion of the vehicle palette, specifically space combat. For those of you who don't know, Bungie included space combat back in Halo Reach, and it was a really smooth sequence that many enjoyed over and over again. Fun fact, they originally planned on having us in space combat twice during the Battle of Reach, but it was cut for certain reasons. Back to Destiny, the ground vehicle combat is scarce and dull when it is present. The Pike plays almost exactly like the Ghost from Halo, and the Interceptor tank is a carbon copy of the Revenant from Halo Reach. And you'd think there would be at least ground support aircraft in addition, considering that Bungie launched the first Halo with the ability to pilot the Banshee. And that was back in 2001. Well, in any case, the beautiful space combat we saw in Reach did not make the conversion into the Destiny universe for one reason or another. But there is no denying that this is way up there on the Destiny 2 wish list for a majority of Destiny fans. Oh, wait, Destiny still has fans? I kid. There are no fans. Finally, this is everyone's chief complaint for Destiny, and dread it will be repeated in Destiny 2. A story. Or lack thereof, I should say. The story missions collectively occupy the player's time for an embarrassing 4 hours of gameplay, pushing 6 hours if you play the campaign on Nightfall difficulty. Admittedly, I'm not including the playtime for the Dark Below DLC, but I consider it against my principles to include it or any of the campaign DLC. And I have yet to hear any Crota killers singing their praises about it. The fact that we have to pay extra for a full campaign is a sucker punch way below the belt to gamers everywhere. It would be alright if the campaign was juicy and jam-packed to begin with, but the story is bland, and the missions repeat themselves so much, you would think they didn't take themselves seriously. So many Dinklebot defense missions. So many. Never mind. This needs to change for Destiny 2. If you want to sell us extra campaign DLC, fine. But if, and only if, we have a story mode that is lengthy, satisfying, filled with variety, and actually ships with the game that I paid $60 Griffin for. Well, that's all I have for today, Save Pointers. Be sure to tune in next time for more coverage on Destiny. And for those of you watching on YouTube, feel free to leave comments below as to what you would like to see in the next Destiny. See you in the wild, Guardians. Say hi to Crota for me, because I sure as won't.
I think it is our destiny to take a PSA break.
Never again! Never again!
After school today, I will be dead. I can't go on any longer. Nobody even knows I exist. They pass through me like air, like nothingness. That's what I am. Nothing.
Did you know that getting up and getting active for just 60 minutes a day is all it takes to help you get stronger, look better, and feel great?
Or that fresh fruits and veggies aren't just healthier and crunchier, they can taste better too?
Eating better and getting more active is easier than you think.
Yeah! Keep watching for some fun and easy ways to discover the magic of healthy living in your life.
America.
Let's get healthy together!
Hey guys, Marissa and John here with your Nintendo news. Yokai Watch for the 3DS is coming to the United States. The game was originally released in Japan in 2013 and is now also headed to Latin America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Korea. In addition to revenue from video games, the anime, and manga, Yokai Watch has generated more than $1 billion in retail sales of toys and other merchandise in Japan, aside from games, music, and publishing. Yokai Watch is estimated to arrive in the West in 2016.
The Nintendo Creators Program clearly isn't working out. Gaming YouTuber Nick Truong, also known as Angry Joe, is slamming Nintendo for their crackdown on ad revenue and is now going to be boycotting Nintendo games. Nintendo recently altered its policies to demand that YouTubers pay Nintendo 40% of their advertising revenue from videos made using Nintendo's products. Other gaming YouTubers who have been raging over the policy are PewDiePie, Total Biscuit, and Jim Sterling.
As of April 6th, Pokemon Shuffle has surpassed 3 million downloads. To celebrate the achievement, the game is featuring a week-long challenge where players can take on a Mega Blastoise. Rack up as high of a score as possible in 1 minute, and then submit your score to online leaderboards. If you score in the top 10,000 in Europe, top 20,000 in North America, or top 50,000 in Japan, you win a Blastoise Stone, while the rest will get a jewel as a consolation prize. Accessing the challenge will update your game to version 1.1.8. The challenge will run through April 13th.
Level 5 has announced that Final Life 2 will be launching on smartphones, skipping the 3DS altogether. Fantasy Life 2, Two Moons in the Village of God, is expecting to launch sometime this year, and the concept and game mechanics will remain the same, just on a smartphone instead.
Since the Nintendo Direct on April 1st, the Super Smash Bros. Fighter ballot has opened up to determine the next fighter to be included as a DLC. Among the popular choices are King K. Rool, Professor Layton, Banjo-Kazooie, and Chrom. The poll closes on October 3rd. You can vote online on the official Smash Bros. Fighter ballot page, and don't vote for Goku.
Square Enix has released a cinematic trailer for the sequel to the critically acclaimed Bravely Default. The new trailer for Bravely Second and Lair features brand new characters, as well as fan favorites, accompanied by a new soundtrack from musicians such as Rio Supercell, featuring Chelly. Just be warned, there are some minor spoilers for Bravely Default Flying Fair. Bravely Second and Lair will be released in Japan on April 23rd, RD, and is expected to launch in the West sometime after.
Pokemon White made a surprise appearance on the UK sales charts last week. Pokemon White version 2 popped up at number 20 with no mention of Pokemon Black. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D had a rather disappointing debut, only ranking 27th. Mario Party 10 dropped to 22nd on the sales list, while both versions of Smash 4 remain at number 33. Finally, as of April 6th, Donkey Kong 64 is now available on the Wii U Virtual Console. That's all for your Nintendo news. We'll have more updates for you next week.
We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
And 30. Oh! Yo, hey, Allison.
What's going on?
Working on my free throws. Just sung 30 straight.
30? That's not possible.
Maybe not possible for you, but I've been practicing.
Step back and give me the rock.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
1, 2, 11. You know it's harder when people are watching.
Hey, you know, 11's not that bad. All you need are a few pointers.
Thank you. Are you a free throw expert?
Well, no, not really, but I do know excellent teamwork when I see it. It's so much easier to get active and live healthier when your friends are there to motivate you with a little friendly competition.
Now let's get this game started. Oh, she's going for the hook shot. Hook shot. That's what I'm talking about.
America.
Let's get healthy together.
Oh, thank God you're back. You almost missed an epic debate about the next-gen consoles, featuring Ramon, Pat, and Jose.
Followed by Dave with your comics in the news.
Hey guys, this is Pat here, and we're doing our next-gen console debate featuring the supposed new consoles for this generation. Now, I'm going to be taking the side of Xbox One, which is clearly the best console on the market. I mean, after all, you've got Halo, you've got Titanfall, Gears of War, Destiny's on there too. I mean, yeah, it's on PS3 and 4.
Destiny sucked.
Well, yeah.
Can I just say that half the games you announce aren't even with Xbox anymore? Like
What are you talking about?
You guys ruined your developer relationships right off the bat with the Halo series, giving it to 343 Industries, and you know what? Bungie didn't even want to like do it for you guys anymore because you guys kept screwing them out of like the situation. If you don't have a good relationship with developers, there's no way you're gonna stay on top like PlayStation.
Here at Nintendo, we love our second-party developers. Ask anyone from Game Freak, Monolith, Platinum.
It took you guys a year to get Watch Dogs. It took you guys literally a year to get Watch Dogs.
But was Watch Dogs even that good, though? Does it even matter that much?
If Watch Dogs, which I will say right off the bat was a mediocre multi-platform game, if it took a year for it to be on the Wii U just so then they can match the specs and make it work, I don't think that it's that great. Your Wii U
But hold
is
on.
below value.
Hold on. But if it can be on par with these other consoles, despite the long development time, doesn't that say something for the people who know how to engineer such a device? The fact that I can get graphics as good as any other console out there at the moment. Really? Really? I don't know. Hey, at least the Wii has native 1080p.
On what? Like claymation for Kirby? Like what are you like bragging about? You guys have 64-bit characters.
64-bit characters. I'm sorry, you're a couple years back, because let me tell you something. Yeah, you guys like your games with your realistic graphics and stuff. Let me tell you something. The more realistic you try to be, the easier it is for your games to age like shit. Because let me tell you something. Except for the 64, most consoles that have a cartoony look in their characters, they tend to age a lot better. Look at Wind Waker for the GameCube. That game is damn near 10 years old.
Remade 4 times, may I add.
Okay, hold on. A, remade once. B, you look at the GameCube version, it still looks good.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I do not doubt that Nintendo has very great mascots and super awesome, like, lifetime characters that will stay there till the end of time, like Mario, Pikachu, and Kirby, and Samus, and all these guys. They're great characters. But the fact of the matter is Nintendo does not have the content to back them up. They've been sitting there for a year, and every year they release, like, probably 3 to 4 games that are great. And a lot of them are on their handheld, not even for the Wii U, which has been slowly slacking. Yeah, without a doubt. The new Legend of Zelda Wii U, that's supposed to come out this year, and it got delayed already. That's already something off, the Nintendo Wii wish list.
The thing about the Wii U, the Wii U is, you can't even count that against Nintendo for one reason and one reason only. Literally every Zelda game has been delayed. This is par for the course. You're trying to present this as if it's some sort of surprise to people who habitually get these games. And as far as console releases and having good games, a lot of the things that were released for the 3DS were also multi-platform to the Wii U and were great. The Monster Hunter series, the Mighty Switch Force series, Shantae, and then you got Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, the new Zelda that's coming out, the new Kirby that's coming out, the new Star Fox that's coming out.
The popularity in Nintendo, I will say, it lies greatly within our brands in Japan, which is where we get huge support in. But as an international unit, Nintendo hasn't been really listening to their fans at all. They've started that ballot on Smash Bros, I'll give them that, but it has been greatly taken advantage of, and people are just putting some of the dumbest submissions out there.
Well, honestly, that was expected. And as far as listening to the fans, they've always been doing that. Look to the Smash demos at E3. A lot of things have changed between that demo and the final product. A lot of things have been balanced. You're able to act out of throws now. The landing lag has been decreased. They're listening to their fans. At E3, when people were trying the demo, there were Nintendo reps with clipboards asking, yo, what do you think we should change about this demo? That way the final game is better. And they listened.
Yeah, but I don't see it in your online play.
In
our online play, really?
You know who else doesn't listen very well? Activision. I've talked about this multiple times on Destiny, and of course Destiny is more preferred to a PlayStation audience because you get more exclusive content.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
we don't have.
Oh yeah, where the is he?
Yeah, has he been?
Activision.
That was like the one PlayStation character I liked, and of course you got the Killzone series. I will admit that is by far my favorite product on the PlayStation. But at the same time, you got to look at Shadowfall. How much of a flop was that?
Shadowfall was a game that was taken into a different direction, It definitely wasn't what we'd expect for a first-person shooter that we would say challenge Halo. But it's only the first year, you know what I mean? And like we've already stated with, like in the beginning interviews, like for the Order 1886, it was only a single-player game, really short game, and I could see why the price dropped really drastically on it to like $40 because, the content. But the quality of the game is great. The graphics are probably like the best we've ever seen out of all 3 consoles. And the Order 1886 Part 2 is already like being made with an online mode. I mean, just because of that, we're doing it by stepping stones. Like that's how the PlayStation's working, stepping stones, working through that. Like if, let's say for example, the Nintendo Network that's supposed to be coming out next year where they're trying to combine friend codes and try to make it more like Xbox Live and PlayStation
The
Network.
thing is, though, we dropped friend codes a long time ago. As soon as the Wii U came out, the only thing that uses friend codes now
3DS.
is the 3DS.
Which is the biggest console seller right now for the Nintendo.
It is the biggest seller, but that's honestly because Nintendo dominates the handheld market by default. Because I'm going to be honest with you, like, I only know 3 people with a Vita. Everyone else I know owns a 3DS. Like, literally, when Pokemon X and Y came out, Satoru Iwata, the president of Nintendo, came out onto the stage, presented Pokemon X and Y, and said, "This is the final nail in the Vita's coffin," and did this. And that's when everyone knew.
Oh my gosh.
The Vita, I cannot defend it to the point where it has great variety of games. It has a decent amount of games, and honestly, PlayStation Plus has been a godsend to it since they started on PS3 because it's been given, like, if you guys been subscribed for at least a year, you're getting at least like 24, 30 games on that Vita, like throughout that year, every month. You know, like giving 2-3 games a month. But the Vita is definitely more than just, like, I would say that handheld that you're just sitting down. I use my Vita personally more for, like, the remote play. I love that. I love that being able to do that. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of glad that Nintendo started doing that with the 3DS. Like with the 3DS, there's crossplay between the Monster Hunter games. Certain games now, if you buy for the 3DS, you get a code to get it on the Wii U. And with Smash Brothers, you can now use your 3DS as a controller.
That's what we're doing, right? I don't know what Xbox is doing.
Xbox, like, but we got it.
No, 'cause you
What
wanna
we're doing right now
you know something? Apparently, according to Microsoft, a handheld is a tablet. How's that Surface doing?
Windows tablet Surface.
I wouldn't even know. I can't even defend it because the Surface.
I'm sorry, everyone I know has a iPad.
Yeah, Xbox needs to veer away from handheld because I just know for a mile and away that they would not pull it off well. However, they do have the games with gold like every month. They release like free copies, provided you have subscription to Xbox Live Gold. And yeah, you have to pay for the subject, but there's like a great number of content on there. Not to mention, you got Netflix, and you can actually stream your games straight from like in the disk drive and then stream it onto your Xbox One for like when you want to make YouTube videos and montage and all that stuff.
Can I just vent this out about like the subscription program for ours? So like PlayStation Plus, I've had it for about 2 years now, and it's been great. It's a beautiful program. You know, the free games are great. The free online on PS3 is great, but the paid online on PS4 is a little weird for me. You know, it's adjustment period. But once my subscription runs out, I can't play my PlayStation Plus games anymore. I haven't been able to touch any of my indies in the last week, but that's the one thing I do enjoy about the, games with gold, that after you download them, they're still yours forever.
Yeah.
They're still great. I'll admit to that.
I'll commend that.
Yeah. And great games is the shooter series. The recent shooter series aside, you got to admit that you have really, really iconic characters that Microsoft owns. I mean, Master Chief is no doubt iconic.
Yeah.
And you've also got the Gears of War series, and they're talking about bringing that one back up. I mean, you got to think of we wouldn't have chainsaw bayonets. We wouldn't be talking about curb stomping without Gears of War. And
well, I mean, then there's oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of the movie, something X. But you know what I'm talking about, like put your teeth on the curb. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
The audience knows what I'm talking about. They're probably screaming the name of the movie at their TVs right now. I can't hear you, but yeah, the Xbox does have some iconic characters, but I will say, like, Sony and Nintendo just have it nailed down in that regard.
It's become a lot more apparent in the recent years, and I'll say this about all 3 companies, that there's just been a weird support, and I don't know if this is even a debate but more of a vent about our thing.
I feel like we're having more of a discussion, but honestly, I like this.
Yeah, because
I like having a discussion like this.
Screw this. It's the companies that are trying to drive us apart. We're all. Forget this.
I'm still Xbox. Let's not get too far.
No, don't worry. I'm still gonna,
I'm gonna bust your balls.
Oh yeah,
of course. But I'm just gonna start off from right here. Xbox One had a great relationship with a lot of the developers, like I was mentioning with the Halo series on Bungie, but then it got really weird, and then they had to kind of buy the Halo series off of Bungie, so then Bungie can go on and do Destiny,
Yeah.
And then kind of like Bungie's stick in the ass Bungie, to Microsoft. They kind of gave more exclusive content to PlayStation on Destiny. They were like, we'll give them.
Speaking about
DLCs.
Destiny, look how it turned out for them. Destiny was one of the biggest FPS backlashes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
First of all, how do you get away with a 4-hour story mode, pushing 6 hours? Like, is how I'm going. As for like with my thoughts on Destiny 2, how do you get away with only 4 hours for a campaign mode, pushing 6 hours if you're playing on Nightfall?
And
That's if.
And it's supposed to be an MMO. Like, it's supposed to be for hours.
Like,
I mean, there's people still playing it, but I just...
Oh, yeah.
You'll
dedicate
you want to know
hours
why
to it.
people are still playing it? They're playing it because they have friends who have the game, and honestly, I think they're trying to validate the purchase at this point.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to validate my purchase anymore. Destiny is collecting dust on my shelf right now because I flat out refuse to pay a single cent more for any campaign DLC that I should have gotten with my $60 purchase. I got 4 hours of gameplay, and the fact that it took me, I'll admit, it took me a while to notice this, and it took a lot of people a while to notice this. Didn't it seem a little odd that they were advertising campaign DLC with the actual release? House of Wolves and what was that one that came out recently? What was the name of it?
You know what?
The Dark Below.
Wait, are you sure this was a Bungie game? Because it's sounding a lot like Capcom and their BS. Because if you guys have played Street Fighter Cross Seconds, like, whoa, Mega Man, Pac-Man, wait a second, they're locked? Okay, how do I unlock them? You do arcade mode 30 times, then you realize, wait, I have to pay to unlock characters that are already on the disc.
It's the same thing with the play spaces on Destiny. It's the same exact thing with the play spaces. They've actually glitched themselves into these areas that are locked, and they won't be unlocked until the publishers and the devs actually unlock it when the DLC comes
They're
out.
basically
And
getting
after
like
you
free
buy them.
range on like a sneak preview on some of the DLC that's already being like launched.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between DLC and releasing an unfinished game to make more money. Like, one thing I like about Nintendo, when they make DLC, like, it's actual DLC.
Yeah.
Like, they release a full game, you know, fair price, and then, you know, it's like, yo, you want more characters? You got more characters. You want another stage for Fire Emblem? You got it. You want a Mega Man costume for Monster Hunter 4? Here you go.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Bungie when they were making the Halo games. I'm honestly surprised that they pulled this 180.
Yeah.
You want more maps? We'll make more maps.
The DLC situation has just been a very messy thing in the last few years, especially with like, you know, PlayStation Network, Nintendo Network, and, you know, Xbox Live being up. And I could just say, like, along with like developers and like these, you know, conglomerate corporations, there has to be like a middle ground that they have to find. And also with just
I feel as if Nintendo has
games as
found
well.
that middle ground.
Yeah.
Nintendo's getting there.
Yeah.
They need to work on it a little more with trying to get those multi-platform games that were on Xbox and PlayStation and not get it so late. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
have to work on
I mean,
getting it
honestly,
on time.
like Rayman Legends. Oh yeah, by the way,
Beautiful game.
you screwed up Mega Man Legends, Microsoft. I mean, all right, what happened? All right, long story short, it was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive. Microsoft said, we want it too, except in Microsoft's third-party contract, oh yeah, if you release a multi-platform game, no version of it can release before the Microsoft version. And you the entire Nintendo fan base. Everyone was pissed at you for that.
Congratulations, Microsoft. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Microsoft.
Yeah. So, moving
Oh,
back.
so that's why you're called Microsoft.
Yeah. But what it really comes down to is the business model for video games. They're trying to imitate previous business models with other crafts in other businesses, like when they're trying to sell movies, or even like when they're trying to sell cars or houses with like down payments. When really that's not something you're supposed to be doing with video games. Video games are a whole different beast. Not only are you releasing the game, it's not one and done when you release the game. You need to be able to support it after it's released because everything's online now. You got to connect with it.
Can I just close it with this saying that, like, the game companies, I'm talking to you Xbox, I'm talking to you Nintendo, I'm talking to you PlayStation. Give me a full game when I'm buying, you know, whatever exclusives you're handing out, and don't make me pay for DLC in order to find out the rest of the story. Shadow of Mordor had a similar issue where they released like this new Titan DLC, and it kind of like showed more about the story, about what happened before, and you actually got to fight Sauron. Just give us what we want, and that's 100% your dedication. We want a full story, and we don't want to be like cheated. I don't want to spend more money.
Yeah. All right. I think at this point, just need to wait until E3 to really see where these companies are at. And I think that's a good place to really end this discussion, if if you guys don't mind.
We'll bring it back up on E3.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
E3.
we're gonna have a huge E3 discussion. We better.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, that's all we have for our so-called debate and now discussion. And now we're going to throw you to Comics in the News.
Hey guys, Dave here with your Comics in the News. Now, I really thought I would be talking about Convergence this week, but I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed in the Convergence so far. Maybe it was just overhyped, or maybe I just don't have a real connection to pre-Flashpoint characters, but either way, my must-buy comic of the week is Image Comics' The Walking Dead number 140. The latest issue of The Walking Dead dropped a major twist that the series has been building towards ever since the conclusion of the All Out War storyline. Negan, the series' central villain for the past several years, has finally returned. Not that he necessarily went anywhere. The Walking Dead readers will recall that All Out War ended with a brutal fight between Rick and Negan. Ultimately, and against the wishes of most of his friends, Rick chose to spare Negan's life and prove to all survivors of the zombie apocalypse that humanity needn't resort to killing. The Robert Kirkman-written series then jumped ahead a couple years as Rick and his allies have spearheaded a major rebuilding effort. Civilization is finally returning to their corner of the world. But with dissent growing in their ranks and Negan patiently biding his time in his prison cell, it's been clear that there's a shoe just waiting to drop. And well, that shoe finally came down in the final pages of issue number 140. Readers were offered a glimpse of Negan being bathed and groomed by his captors before being returned to his cell. Shortly after they left, however, the cell door popped open, and Negan finally found himself a free man again. It's unclear whether one of his captors purposely rigged the door, but it seems Negan was as surprised by this turn of events as the reader. This is just the latest blow to Rick's fledgling alliance of cities. Already, our heroes have dealt with the emergence of a group of zombie-disguised humans called the Whispers, and the attempted assassination of Maggie. With Negan on the loose and poised to resume his sadistic ways, there could be another war ahead. It should be interesting to see if Negan's return will coincide with the character's rumored debut in Season 6 of the TV series. That's all I have for you this week, Save Pointers. For more comics news, tune into the Spoiler Report every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. on WMCX 88.9 FM.
That's our show, Save Pointers. Don't forget to save and quit.
We'll see you next time, but until then, we have reached the Save Points.